Moscow is now under attack by the largest Ukrainian drone strike in history. The war has once again come close to Vladimir Putin's center of power. Improvised sirens, airports disrupted, and videos showing Russian air defenses trying to respond overhead. The attack was attributed to Ukraine and made international headlines as one of the largest drone attacks against Moscow since the beginning of the Russian invasion. The attack happened on the same day that the United Kingdom announced a massive package for Ukraine. 150,000 drones by the end of the year, in addition to more than 350 air defense missiles and radars. While the Kremlin tries to project an image of control, the capital saw drones breaking through barriers and debris falling in civilian areas. The refinery caught fire for the second time in just a few days, and residents are looking for information in local chat groups. Because state television preferred to talk about daily life, diplomacy, the weather, and Russian greatness, that's where Putin's narrative of strength takes a hard hit. Russia promised to shield Moscow with layers of defense, panzer systems, and protection around the capital. But the images that circulated showed failures, missiles missing their targets, and the feeling that the Kremlin's shield didn't withstand the blow. What did Ukraine hit in the Russian logistical heart? Why is Putin trying to hide the extent of the embarrassment? How was Moscow hit even though it's surrounded by air defenses? I'll tell you all about that in a moment. If you like this kind of straightforward, no-nonsense content, consider subscribing because here we have videos like this every day. The attack hit the Kapotnya oil refinery in southeastern Moscow, a facility connected to Gazprom Neft. The operation took place during the early morning and continued into the morning, with Ukrainian drones reaching the Moscow metropolitan area and causing a fire at the facility. Russia claimed to have shot down hundreds of drones in several regions. But the very need to put out fires, suspend flights, and explain damage within the capital shows that the Russian defense was unable to prevent the political impact of the operation. Kyiv has been hitting targets related to fuel, logistics, and energy infrastructure, trying to cut off revenue, complicate supply, and show that Russia cannot attack Ukrainian cities every day while thinking its own capital will remain untouched. The videos that circulated on social media showed moments of tension in the skies over Moscow. In some recordings, drones flew over commercial areas, defense systems fired, and objects fell after the interceptions. At another location, residents recorded smoke rising from the refinery area. The scene drew attention because Moscow is usually portrayed by Russian propaganda as a fortress far from the war. But this time, the war appeared in the sky of the capital itself. Amid buildings, roads, and neighborhoods that until recently seemed beyond Ukraine's reach, Russian air defense became central to the humiliation. Moscow has layers of protection, equipment spread out, and systems that have been presented for years as a sufficient response against external threats. Even so, the attack revealed visible flaws. Reports and videos showed missiles missing drones, explosions in the sky, and debris falling. After the interception attempts, the Panzer system, used by Russia as a symbol of modern defense, ended up exposed in scenes that sparked mockery on social media. Propaganda presents it as a wall. The images showed a vulnerable capital. The impact went beyond the refinery. Transportation and aviation authorities temporarily suspended flights at Moscow airports because of the aerial threat. This affects the normal functioning of the capital and shows that the attack was not limited to the industrial perimeter. While videos of the refinery and air defense were circulating on social media, the official news prioritized an image of normality. With Putin making political appearances, talking about world order and unrelated subjects, this contrast was irritating because it showed the classic model of Kremlin propaganda. When reality weighs heavily, the broadcast tries to change the subject. But in 2026, it's not enough to keep the fire off television. The resident records, posts, comments, and turns the official silence into proof of weakness. Putin was in Kazan at that time, receiving leaders from the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. The official image was of a leader in control, smiling at international meetings and talking about global influence. At the same time, Moscow was dealing with drones, smoke, and airports on alert. This difference between the image of power and the reality in the capital sky explains why the episode weighs so heavily, politically. Putin wanted to project stability. Ukraine showed vulnerability. Volodymyr Zelensky treated the attack as a response to Russian aggression and reinforced the idea that Ukraine will not stand by silently while its cities are bombed. His statement followed the line that Moscow needs to feel the consequences of the war started by the Kremlin itself. The Ukrainian Foreign Minister, Andriy Sybiha, also provoked Russian residents by saying that the question about what was happening should be directed to Putin. Because it was Russia that started the war, those who bring destruction to others cannot demand lasting peace at home. The attack happened on the same day that the United Kingdom announced a huge package for Ukraine. 150,000 drones by the end of the year, as well as more than 350 air defense missiles and radars. The announcement was made by the British Defense Minister Dan Jarvis during a meeting of the Ukraine Defense Contact Group in Brussels. The package exceeds £752 million, an amount close to $996 million, and will be financed by a loan linked to frozen Russian assets. In practice, London is saying that Putin will pay part of the bill for the very war he started. This British package helps explain why Moscow feels the pressure mounting. Ukraine doesn't rely only on bravery at the front. It is expanding, receiving external support, and connecting drones, radars, and air defense in an increasingly technological war. The United Kingdom wants to strengthen Ukraine, both to withstand Russian attacks and to maintain its ability to respond, for Putin. The problem is that each new package increases Kyiv's breathing room and reduces Russia's hope of winning by exhaustion. The meeting in Brussels also showed that Ukraine remains at the center of the Western military agenda. The contact group brings together dozens of nations and discusses exactly what Kyiv needs to hold territory, protect cities, and maintain pressure on Russian structures. The British package did not come alone. It adds to new sanctions, energy support, and talks about missile defense systems. While Putin tries to convince the world that Russia is winning by attrition, Ukraine's allies keep putting equipment, money, and production on the table. Each successful attack forces Russia to spend more on defense, shift resources to protect cities, explain internal failures, and manage weariness among the population. Ukraine uses cheaper technology to generate much higher political and economic costs. On the other hand, Moscow tries to respond by saying it shot down most of the drones. This argument does not erase the impact of what got through. A capital that has to suspend airports, activate emergency services, deal with a refinery fire, and see videos of air defense failing has already felt the impact. Russia may announce large interception numbers, but the decisive point is something else. Drones got too close, hit important targets, and exposed the gap between the talk of total protection and the reality of modern warfare. The incident also affects internal morale. The Russian citizen, used to seeing the war on television, filtered by presenters loyal to the Kremlin, now sees videos recorded by other residents showing drones in the sky over their own capital. If Moscow is so well protected, how did the refinery get hit again? If the defense is so efficient, why do so many videos show failures? If Putin controls everything, why does the capital need to normalize smoke and air raid alerts? The British package of 150,000 drones arrives precisely in this environment as political fuel for the Ukrainian strategy of pressuring Putin, instead of just waiting for new attacks. Russia still has military power, heavy arsenal, and the ability to cause enormous destruction in Ukraine. But the attack against Moscow dismantles the image of invulnerability that Putin built. I'm Milson Alves, an internationalist, and my purpose is to keep you well informed with the truth every day. The news links are in the video description. Leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and at the end, take a look at the comments. That way, you can be even more engaged with the community. Milson Alves.